Fix that, Sam. Otherwise, hey! Oh, come on. That was a piece of... What was that? That was a piece of paper.
It thingies at one point, then it freezes. That's what I'm trying to get rid of it.
I'm going to mercilessly tease you if you keep that green square up there.
I'd love for you to do that, mate.
Do it anyway, Glenn.
Right.
This computer's taking a minute.
And yeah, we're back after no quiz tonight, thankfully. I think the guys will be relieved there's no quiz tonight.
Oh, yeah, like you're relieved having a quiz every week.
I'm not. I'm saying they are, because my questions are very tough, apparently.
They are. They were the other night.
Well, they were the other night, because that wasn't Arsenal. Well, QPR was the worst round, I think.
Yeah, QPR and Charlton I struggled with, but anyway.
Yeah, well, basically, we have a nice little catch-up, basically, and talk actual football and Arsenal.
Did we start, or are we still off the air?
Well, we're 1 minute and 12 seconds in.
Oh, the show started? You didn't even say hello.
You get a chance to.
What kind of host are you?
Literally,
it says 1 minute 25 seconds, and you're going, "Oh yeah, are we starting? Are we still on
Good
the air?"
Good job you weren't naked, Glenn.
What makes you think I'm wearing pants right now?
I don't know, bro. You feeling it?
All right. God. Seriously, don't you say hello to your audience?
I went to literally as I gone live. Sam appeared, then he disappeared, and then you went off on one.
I don't go off on rants.
Much.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, basically, yeah, we're actually going to talk football because the Premier League has we've got the official start date back now, and yeah, I want to get your thoughts on it and what implications it will have, not just financially, but on the match day itself for the teams that have actually got something to fight for. That usually have that 12th man sort of push. So yeah, obviously got Glenn, Sam, Andrew, Richard. How you all doing tonight?
I'm stuck in the house with my wife and kids. I'm not going to lie, it sucks. Move on.
Oh dear.
Next.
You all right?
The rest of us are all right anyway.
Yeah, we're all alive. Just about.
All the bits are happy. It's the New Yorkers that are not happy.
Oh, please. Most married men. Richard, if you're married, you're the exception. Or your wife is right behind you.
That's more realistic.
Well, yeah, as it is, as I've already touched on, the Premier League's coming back on this 17th. Literally, the first game is our game in hand against Man City away. What were your initial thoughts, Andrew, when that announcement was made on, I think it was Thursday, late Thursday afternoon?
Happy, really. I'm ready for it to come back. I mean, I can't say that I've got into the Bundesliga at all. I watched about 10 minutes of the first game that came on, and I haven't watched it since. It just doesn't mean the same when you haven't got any kind of vested interest to me, anyway.
True. But then you take it the extreme, though, Andrew, because you don't even watch Champions League because Arsenal's not in it. So you take it to extremes.
What's the point? It's just not interesting. So yeah, when the day we get back in it, the day I'll be massively vested in the Champions League. But no, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really encouraged by the fact that there's some more youngsters been put into the first team squad. I know they're just in training at the moment, but because we're going to have 5 substitutions in each match, hopefully they're going to get some game time, some of these guys. So I really genuinely think that it was on the I think it was the Arsenal Vision podcast recently that they said that it might give us an advantage if we actually do start a lot more of the youngsters against Man City, because they're going to be so much more fresh and fit and ready, whereas the older squad members are going to take a few matches to properly get up to speed. So I genuinely don't think we're going to lose against Man City. I'm really quite confident about it, and I think if there's any manager that can come up with a tactical plan to beat Pep, then it's going to be Arteta, having worked under him for so long. And I don't think it's too much of a coincidence that before obviously everything stopped, that Man City's form, really took a nosedive after Arteta left. So. Yeah, fingers crossed. I'm really looking forward to it personally, and I can't wait for it to come round.
Talking of fitness, you've seen the pictures throughout various Premier League clubs in the last few days, and you've seen our players literally they've kept on shape basically throughout the whole 10-week period of this lockdown. Where you see, like you're talking off air, Luke Shaw and Kevin De Bruyne literally chunked up. Put a lot of weight on. That's going to have, again, going into that Man City game with lots of De Bruyne and not in match fitness itself and nowhere near fit at the moment. That's going to have a positive for us anyway, because we're literally, our fitness levels are already there in that sense. It's just getting match fitness.
Yeah.
Sam, what was your initial thoughts when that all came out on Thursday?
Well, I thought, you know what, we got nothing to lose, really. You know what I mean? We got nothing to lose. Go against City. Whether we win, we lose. You know, it don't matter. You know, wherever we're meant to finish, we're meant to finish. You know, I don't mind. You know, taking the whole season out of Europe. You know, I wouldn't mind that. So you know, if whoever wants to leave, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Then get some implement some youngsters that want to play for the club, that are hungry, that are going to be like, you know what. You know, this is like a lifelong dream now. I'm going to give it every second of everything I have to play for this club and take them to the next level and, you know, be fearless in a sense. Because, like, you know, the thing with Arsenal, and this is the truest thing, we're too much of a commercial club. We have the big stars, but all we're about is making the money. But when you look at the Bundesliga, what doesn't make it so interesting is they're not about that. The Bundesliga is made for the fans. Like, the players will give every second of every minute that they get to play there. And the thing is, with the way that the Premier League's now come out, you know, of course everyone's going to be happy. You know, the football's fine, good football's back on the TV. But there's also a lot of factors as well. You look at, you know, like the timings as well. A lot of things are coming into factor. Who gets what match? Who's going to broadcast what? You know, for the first time as well. Even though we're going off topic, but again. It's a big thing. Like, for the first time since 1988, BBC is going to broadcast some Premier League matches. For the first time since 1988, and that's something big as well. You know, we don't know what they're going to broadcast. They might even broadcast City Arsenal. They might broadcast the North London derby. We still got to play Arsenal Liverpool. We don't know. And at the same time, it's good news, but we've also got to think the other factors into account. You know, what's it going to be like with no fans being there? You know, what's it going to What do we expect? Do we expect more from Arsenal, since they're training the most, or do we expect less from them? It's kind of a big thing. So yeah,
I think that's going to be a bonus for the young players, because they're not going to be under as much pressure without the fans getting on their back if they make a mistake. You know, they're going to be able to, play with a lot more freedom, I think, and that's another good reason to play them.
Yeah,
Are you trying to be the new Heavy D, Sam? By the way,
I wanted to. While Sam is struggling, I'd love to hear what Richard thought when the Premier League said they were coming back.
To be honest with you, when it was obviously, you know, behind closed doors, it's not something that I thought. I didn't really want them to bother. Basically, it's like, you know, if you can't have fans in the ground. I mean, I watched a bit like Andrew. I watched about 10 minutes of the first German games, and I turned it off because it just didn't interest me. Not because of the football, but because there's just no atmosphere in the ground. It's all about fans there watching the game, and if you haven't got that, I think first of all it makes it a different experience for the players, whereas, you know, home advantage would have been massive for, say, clubs like Aston Villa fighting relegation, which they're going to lose now. Other teams maybe fighting Europe. Sheffield United had I think their crowd gave them an extra bonus as well, and they're going to lose that out. And it's like you're starting a season under one lot of circumstances, finishing it under a different lot of circumstances, really. And is it a fair playing field for everybody? I'm not sure if it is. And you could say everyone's in the same boat now, and they are, but I agree with, you know, I think that the Arsenal fans tend to get on the players' backs a lot more. So we've maybe got a slight advantage not having that there. But having said that, you know, I still do think having a home crowd makes a difference. I mean, I think Liverpool are going to suffer because I think their crowd's an extra, you know, probably an extra 10 points a season or more, just their home games. So that might, I mean, it might not make any difference to them, but it's different lot of circumstances. And I'm not sure if you can, you know, would they not have been better off if it's true that they're looking at maybe getting fans back in the ground for next season? Wouldn't it not have been better just to write this season off and start again with fans back in the stadium in September or October, whenever they can do it, and just forget this season?
All right, there's a lot to unpack there. I'll be really quick. I agree with a lot of what you said, Richard, but as far as stopping the season, no way. You want the season decided on the pitch or in the courts. We learned from France that you know, that's what's going to happen. The courts are going to decide where people wound up. The other thing is, I believe, and someone brought this up earlier, is with a vested interest that we have in Arsenal, it won't matter that the crowd is there as far as the game completely entertaining us, as long as they win. and what was my other point? I don't remember.
Well, touching on the crowd situation, we've seen. I don't know if you've all seen, but over in Australia, rugby league, they've tried to pump the atmosphere inside their system.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just stop you just for 1 second. Okay.
I'm not saying a good thing, by the way.
What they are doing with that pumping in, I was enjoying the Bundesliga because it was something different for me, and I just wanted to see football. You know, it's as far as that's just taste. I'm not condemning anybody that couldn't watch it, but I enjoyed it. Then the American TV network started pumping in fake crowd noises into the game, and it completely ruined it for me. I have not watched a Bundesliga game in like 3 days, and I'm not going to watch any more because they're insulting the real. Now I can see why you UK guys, a lot of you UK guys, don't like us Americans, because they pump in this music just for the viewers to hear, and I'm in the minority opinion that it's insulting. I feel like they're treating me like a child that needs a nightlight. I was enjoying listening to the players and the officials and the managers yelling, but no, they had to pump that in. So be careful what you wish for, Ryan, as far as comparing what they're doing. I know the players will be able to hear it, but it's fake. It's fake, and it sucks. I
was bringing it up because I don't know if everyone knew about that. Basically, bringing it up, getting their opinions. I like yourself. Don't know. That's a no-go. That's just no. Because and also, what is a positive about, in one sense, having no crowd, then actually listening to the players and the managers and this, that, and the other barking orders, you get to see who are leaders, who isn't, who's goes within themselves, basically, and who listens to the person giving the instructions.
I think you see that anyway, don't you? You know, when you particularly if you're watching a game on the television, you can see which players are leading the team on the pitch. I mean, certainly for Arsenal, over the last probably 10 games that we played, the main player on the pitch doing that was David Luiz, and we could clearly see that. You know, you didn't need there to be no crowd, or you didn't need to hear him. You could see that he was. You know, he was the leader on the pitch, you know, talking to the younger players, you know, getting everybody going. And, you know, you can see the players that do that, and you can see the players that don't. I mean, Aubameyang's captain, and I've never seen him do that once, ever.
I want to counterpoint that, because before they started pumping in the fake crowd noise for us US fans for the Bundesliga games, I was hearing I wish I paid attention when I was learning German in high school, because I heard everything. I hear, and I wish that I understood the language, because I heard every word they said. And you know those strong K's in German. My mom's German. I think it'll be fascinating to hear Arteta screaming out at them and other stuff, because that's a difference, Richard.
Yeah, no, it would. I agree. Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why I couldn't watch it. I hated it. I absolutely hated it personally. It sounded like they were playing football in an indoor five-a-side, sports centre. I couldn't stand it.
No, I get that, Rich. Andrew, I'm not going to argue about you with that. That's a matter of taste. That's like arguing over whether you like a song or not. You don't like it. Richard doesn't like it. I completely respect that. Completely.
See, I don't want them to pipe the fake sound into the stadium. I want the broadcasters to give you the option, not force it on you, but give you the option, like they can easily nowadays with this technology, of having it or not. Because I would want it, and I totally appreciate the fact that people that don't, because I couldn't stand that empty noise, like I said, like watching an indoor five-a-side game. It was just crap.
I tried watching a game where they added all that stuff, and all I pictured was some 30-year-old geek that still lives in his mom's basement. Okay, here's the whistles. Let's play the whistles. Oh, here's the cheer. You know, that's all I picture. Some guy in a booth manipulating me. I don't need that. Stop.
That's why you need the option. You know.
Oh yeah, option fine.
Yeah,
fine.
that's what I mean. It's easy enough to do for the broadcasters. No problem at all. So also, they could like contact like 50 fans. One of you, Glenn, or just Glenn, maybe not
me.
50, and have the noise of someone watching it live in their living room, but you don't see them, but you can hear what they're doing. That'd be quite good.
Or maybe do them old things. Remember when Sky used to have the fans on? They used to do their commentary.
I'm a blood clot, Yang. And
What?
next thing all of us just start going, that's Defo Troops. We knew that was him. He just goes, Aubameyang scores. I'm a blood clot, Yang.
Yeah, it'd be great. Wouldn't it?
You're like,
It'd be wicked. It would be good.
Yeah, maybe have that instead. Because Sky used to have it, didn't they? Used to have like the fans doing commentary, didn't they? Yeah. So maybe try and do something like that. I think now they've got an opportunity to try a few different things with it all, because it's going to be a totally different experience, isn't it, for everybody watching the games than it was before. And I just think they need to try something different and maybe get fans involved that way. If fans can't be in the ground to get behind a team, then maybe allow fans to participate in some other way. Maybe set up something like this when the games are on, so that you can get fans' views while the game's happening. That might be an idea. I'm sure they could do that quite easily. That could be something different to do, to make it a bit more interesting. Because it's going to be, I just think, watching a game, even if it's Arsenal, I just think it's not going to be the same when it's no sort of crowd noise and hearing the players talking to each other and shouting and stuff. It's not the same experience. That's like watching a Sunday league game.
Yeah.
And it's not.
I think the worst case scenario is if the broadcasters are too fucking lazy to do anything like that, then we should do it ourselves. We should have like a lot of all these and watch it together. Yeah. And then at least we can create noise ourselves, can't we?
And it would be more interesting watching it. It'd be almost like being at a game, wouldn't it? Because
at least you're with some mates.
With your mates. Exactly, yeah. And you can, when Xhaka makes a great pass, everyone can say what a great player he is, and we can
that ain't
share
gonna
it.
happen.
I'd be like, holy crap, he made a good catch.
He gets dispossessed straight away.
I agree, guys, that the fans are half the game, but we got to deal with what is in front of us right now. Finish this season. It sucks there's not going to be fans. The only statistic I saw, this is the other point that I forgot earlier with you, Richard, the only statistic we can rely on right now is in the Bundesliga, when the bigger teams play the smaller teams. Even if it's at the smaller team stadium, the bigger teams are winning more often than they usually do. So this is going to hurt, the Aston Villas, etc., of the Premier League.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I think maybe with our Premier League it might be slightly different. I don't know, but again, it comes down to, doesn't it, having your fans behind you as an advantage for some of the smaller teams. So yeah, it may well play a part. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for the teams battling relegation because they've now got to do it under different circumstances, and I don't know. We're not going to know until it gets going, are we? What effect it's going to start having on these teams. I mean, from our point of view as well. I mean, our home record, funnily enough, has been quite poor this season, unusually. Whereas away from home, we've only lost 3 games, so it might actually be an advantage for us from our point of view. I don't know.
The way I like to look at it, I'll be very brief, I'm sorry, is that, before this whole virus thing, the Arsenal defense was slightly improving every week, in my opinion. And I don't see any reason, because Arteta seems like a hell of a manager when it comes to drilling the team, that they're going to be ready for Manchester City on the 17th. I really believe that.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure they will. Funny enough, I mean, before the game got postponed originally, I actually thought we could get a result there for the simple fact that I think Andrew said it before, that Arteta knows how Pep's going to set his team up. He knows how they play. And I think we've got a slight advantage there. I know we haven't beaten Man City for a long time, but I felt we could get a result originally, probably even more so now with the break, actually, in terms of, like you said, our players look fitter. They look ready. So I'd certainly feel as though we can get a result this time. Without a shadow of a doubt. And, again, they've got none of their fans in the ground to give them a boost as well. So, that might play into our hands a little bit as well.
We've also got to take in consideration as well on the 8th, they're getting their, I think they get the verdict of their appeal basically on the 8th. So even before.
Oh, right,
yeah. And basically, if they
Great
don't
point.
if they don't get it completely overturned, it looks like they're hoping to, but they get like half, like a year instead of 2 years instead of 5.
Yeah, what motivation have they got if they're not going to be in the Champions League? Yeah. That's a point. That's a good point.
They've got no motivation anyway. They might as well be mid-table for all they've got to play for. Because they ain't going to catch Liverpool, are they? So they've got nothing to play for.
Apart from the Champions League, if they got a chance of being in the Champions League, they've got to make sure they get top 4. I mean, it seems likely they will. But like Ryan said, if that appeal's gone against them and they're not going to be in the Champions League next season, what motivation have they got in any game?
Well, if they do get Champions League, we might as well all give up because it's fucking corrupt. And if they seriously,
we know that anyway, don't we?
I know. It'll be a fucking disgrace. It'd be a disgrace, wouldn't it? To be
it would be. Yeah,
and then that just makes a mockery of anything. No, anyone knows they can get away with anything. Then basically, so might as well. So I don't think they're going to get away with it. So
I don't know. I know it was the Europa League, but they held their final in Baku. Tell me there wasn't money under the table for that. There was no way for the fans to get there. There was nowhere for the fans to stay. Money talks, and Manchester City is owned by an oil country. So until I see it, I'm not going to believe that they will be punished. But if they are, Manchester United's in 5th place, and we're pretty close.
Well, yeah, our game in hand is a Man City game, isn't it? So if we can win that, then we're back in the hunt for top 4, aren't we? Which I think is massively important for the club to be in the Champions League again. I mean, Aubameyang's already said he'll only sign an extension to his contract if we've got Champions League football. So, and that's just one of them. I mean, I'm sure other players feel the same. They don't want to be in the Europa League, do they? That's not where they want to be at their point in their career. I mean, Aubameyang's in his 30s, isn't he now? So he's not going to want to play Europa League for another 2 years, is he?
Was that a direct quote, Richard? Because they just was saying that about Bellerin earlier today too, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm totally on board with Arteta, but I want to see some progress. But I didn't see any direct.
These players piss me off. These players are
fucking. Dude, I didn't see a direct.
Just get us there then. Just get us there then. If they say genuinely, if they say that. Well, get us to the Champions League then. Who else? It's down to you, mate.
I agree with you.
If you ain't going to get us there, just fuck off, and you won't get it anywhere else either. So
God, Andrew, if you let me finish my sentence, I didn't see that direct quote from Bellerin. The story said that. I searched for the direct quote, but did not see it. So
exactly, I doubt it came from him.
So just Jesus.
I was just saying in general. I fucking hate players saying that. I really do.
Who doesn't? If you're an Arsenal fan, of course. You don't want to hear that.
Any player.
Like someone was saying earlier. I don't know if it was Jello Mold or Ryan, but you're saying if you don't want to be here, get out. I think we all feel that way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
No, what I think is rather insulting as well is the fact that amongst all this, there's a pay cut for the next year or whatever, but there's been an added incentive as in, if they get Champions League, they get that money back, basically. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you shouldn't need that incentive in the first place.
No, it's their job. It's a joke. Absolute joke.
We've had weaker squads compared to now, and they've made Champions League without without a big of a fuss.
I think that the league was maybe slightly easier to get top four maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Now that you've basically got a top six and even a top 7 and a top 8. So I think getting in the top 4 now is slightly more difficult than maybe it was. But yeah, we've definitely had weaker squads finished second and third in previous seasons, and we've underperformed a lot this season because of all the upheaval behind the scenes. I think as much as anything with Emery and everything that came along with that, and then it took a few few weeks after that to actually get Arteta in. So we wasted about 6 games or something in between with Lundberg, which we could have maybe picked up some more points there. We'd be in a better position if we could have got Arteta in earlier, if they hadn't sort of dallied around about that again. But it is what it is now. At the end of the day, we're going to finish the season. We're going to have to win probably 6 or 7 games at least, aren't we, of the last 10, and hope that's enough.
Yeah. But one game at a time. Like you said, Manchester City's our game in hand. Let's go beat their butts.
Yeah, definitely.
If we get them 3 points in that game in hand, that puts us in 7th on goal. I think depending on the goal difference in the top 7, all of a sudden we're like 2 points off, and 5th and 4th or whatever.
Yeah,
you've then got that straight away. You then like that belief we can do it. We're touching distance now, and this is what I was saying the other day when someone questioned me about saying, because they were saying, well, these exact same players bottled 3rd spot last year, but I said there's a difference. We had Emery last year making mistakes left, right, and centre, whereas Arteta, since he's come in, hasn't put foot wrong really. Chelsea, you can sort of on that, there's a 50-50 on that. Part down to him in the sense of delaying substitutions, but not completely his fault actually. Just down to fate, and the referee's been absolute twats.
And Leno making a terrible mistake as well, didn't he? That cost us that game. I mean, I think there's no doubt we would have won that game without that mistake that Leno made when it was 1-0 to give them the goal. And that was just unfortunate. I mean, obviously the Olympiacos game was the other one that we have lost, which we shouldn't have lost that game either. Really, should we? Let's be honest.
But I agree, and I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, it's not been his fault. It's been the players on the pitch. It's been either the players or the official hasn't made the right decision in the build-up to certain situations that have happened. But game by game, we are looking better and stronger leading up to this situation we're in.
But we've lost that momentum now, haven't we? That's the other thing. We had some momentum building up. We'd won 3 games in a row, I think it was before we stopped. We hadn't lost for a while in the league, and suddenly we've lost all that momentum now. And it's almost like starting a new season, isn't it? Now that might help us, but it might have the reverse effect because we were on a roll, and now that's been kind of disrupted. And it'd be interesting to see how quickly they can get back into that rhythm again. I mean, it might happen straight away, but it might take 2 or 3 games, mightn't it, for everybody, not just us?
Okay, that's one way to look at it. There's another way to look at it, that maybe it'll depend on the squad and the manager. Like, I bet you Chris Wilder and Sheffield United are going to hit the ground running because he's a hell of a motivator and he's got a squad that believes in him. I think we have the same thing at Arsenal, a motivator, a teacher, and a squad that believes in him. So I look at it from that angle, where I'm confident we're going to hit the ground running.
I hope you're right. I really do. And, that's definitely a possibility. I agree, but we do also have to consider the fact that it might not necessarily work straight away like that, because even for Sheffield United, that they've had a great season, but a lot of that was built on the momentum that they had building up through the season, which is now gone. And can they pick that straight up again? I think it's difficult. I think it's going to be difficult for everybody. Maybe the teams that might benefit most are the teams that maybe were struggling a bit before the break. They've had a chance to reassess themselves, and they might be able to start a run going. I don't know. But at the moment, it's difficult to say, isn't it? We don't really know what state team's going to come back in, who's going to be fit to play, who's ready to play straight away in games. They've had no friendlies or anything, have they? So they're basically going to have to throw themselves straight into it. And it's difficult to know what's going to happen. It'd be interesting to see what happens the first 2 or 3 games for everyone.
Wouldn't be the first time Arsenal crushed me with disappointment. So but I'm going to stay positive.
We're used to that. I'm trying to stay as positive as I can, but I don't want to be too optimistic, because then, like you said, you then get more disappointed, don't you, when it all falls apart. I'd rather think of the fact that if we can get a run to going at some point over the 10 games, we've got a good chance of getting the top 4, and I think that's important. And a lot of that's going to be the work they've done behind the scenes now in training, how fit the players are, how ready they are for the challenge that's coming up. and that's what we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I think the Man City games maybe it's a good game to start with actually. Because we've technically got nothing to lose, have we? If we go there and lose 4-0, it's like, well, they're Man City. So, and if we go there and perform well and get a result, then that's something to build on for the rest of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think the other X factor is that the team is going to want to do well for Arteta against his old team. I think they'll be up for it that way too.
Yeah, no, I'm convinced they will. Yeah.
Anyway, Ryan, what did you have for dinner? Sorry, I'll just let you have.
Okay. Yeah, Ryan, please ask Andrew a question so we can
I'm joking.
So we can get one of his 10-minute answers. Go ahead. I'll get my drink here. Go ahead. Ask Andrew a question.
No.
Andrew, I love you. You know I'm joking with you, right? You know I absolutely adore you, right? Answer me.
My betting slip won't look so stupid, will it, if we do win against Man City?
Oh, that's right. Andrew, tell him you actually put money down on Arsenal finishing top 4.
Yeah, 33 to 1 I got on it in the end. So I'm still really confident. Even despite what happens at Man City, I'm still confident because with the one team I'm really worried about, I don't know whether you guys heard I think it's a Football Daily podcast, the BBC one, and Ollie Norwood from Sheffield United was on it. And I've never heard anyone sound so bloody confident. He said the guys have been training really hard from the word go since the shutdown, and they're ready to start on Saturday if they had a game. They'd be happy to start and play Saturday. Said they're all ready and itching to get back at it. I'm more worried about them than anyone else, to be honest, because I do genuinely think they've got a really good chance of getting top 4 because I'm confident that they are going to be right up for it when it all starts again. So we just got to watch them. Really.
But then they're losing their home advantage as well, aren't they? With a crowd,
everyone is though. It's a leveler, isn't it? So
it is. But I think that they may be one of the teams that had a massive advantage with their crowd. I think that gave the players a real lift, and they're going to maybe suffer a little bit from not having that. Everybody will as well, but I think they may be one of the teams that might suffer the most as a result.
I just think that their manager is something special. I really do. Chris Wilder.
Yeah, no, they've had an amazing season, and wherever they finish, they've overperformed what anybody would have imagined at the start of the season, haven't they? So if they was to make top 4, that would be probably the story of the Premier League, wouldn't it? It almost was like Leicester winning the league, the equivalent of that, really, in a way. And I mean, and he should get Manager of the Year if they make top 4.
Definitely, he should anyway. But I totally agree.
I think Chris will get Manager of the season anyway because of what he's achieved. Literally League One to Championship, from Championship to Premier League in such a short time period.
He still jumps on the local bus to go to training as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. In League One, his players weren't being played, and he motivated them weren't being paid, and he motivated them to win.
Yeah. Incredible guy.
And most of them are playing Premier League football now with him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's the same players. Yeah, exactly. And that just shows what a job he's done, really. And and I kind of agree with Andrew in the sense that they did have that momentum going with them before, didn't they? But we'll have to see how it affects them the same as everybody else, really. I think it's difficult to judge now, isn't it? What's going to happen with the team? Who's going to start this sort of restart well? Who's going to maybe struggle to get going? I think it's going to be difficult to judge at the moment. I think betting on any team at the minute, any game is going to be really difficult because it's almost like starting completely from scratch.
I think that Sheffield United, with regard to the crowd as well, it's not going to be quite as effective as you think because, like you said, those players have come through the leagues with Sheffield United and other teams in the lower leagues with hardly any crowd. I think it's all about mentality a lot with them as well. So when they were a couple of seasons ago, they were in League One and they didn't have anywhere near the crowds that they're getting now. So I don't know. I just think that they're going to be massively mentally strong. And
That's a fair point. It wasn't so much necessarily the size of the crowd; it's more the support that they've always got at home. Even when it was in League One, it's a big support, and they're not going to have that. Almost like they, almost. I know it's a cliche, but they like suck the ball into the net and stuff like that. And some crowds do that for the team. Liverpool's another one example.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I
think that they're going to suffer a little bit as a result of that. I think they might do, and that could be the difference between them getting maybe top 4 or top 5 and maybe just missing out.
let's just hope that us and them get top four, and Spurs, Man United, Chelsea all fall away. That'd be fantastic.
That'd be if we come third, Sheffield United come fourth. That'd be a good outcome, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, I'd be delighted. Yeah.
I don't think we can want any more than that, could we? Really? Or maybe even second. Maybe we can get second. You know, who knows? We're not that far behind, are we?
No.
Hey, Sam.
He's back. Sam, have you got
You're
anything?
definitely auditioning to be the new Heavy D.
Oh,
God,
God.
I was doing this before Heavy D. You understand? Burnley away, 2017. Watch my interview. I got the WWE Championship before anybody else. Yeah. Everyone's recognizing Heavy D now, but I was the first one to do so.
Yeah, I do believe you. I do believe you, mate.
Yeah, and if you see my interviews when I was like bigging up Unai Emery when he first came to the club, what did I say? WWE stands for what? Walk with Emery. You understand? Well,
How did that go for you then? Anyway,
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, seriously.
How did that go for you?
now it's AEW. Arteta's extravagant wins.
Oh my.
But yeah,
Oh,
brilliant.
right. Sam, you've been listening to these guys for a while now. Have you got anything to add yourself for what they've said?
not really. They've not hit the nail on the spot. Really, you know, we're gonna go there, like they said, Sheffield United. They're gonna give it the role. All these other clubs are gonna give it the role. But what can we do really? You know, one thing that's already been mentioned that I 100% agreed with listening to. You know, with the uncertainty of Emery, again, that's caused us to fall behind. You know, that dithering decision. You know, the thing is, like the one thing that everything that you guys have been saying relates to one thing, is that we're too much of a commercial club. We're too scared to make decisions that will cause either backlash of the fans or will cause some sort of issue. This is the thing, you know, being a Premier League club now, we are being a Premier League club, you know, we're too commercial. That's not the way football should be. The thing is, with the Bundesliga, it's boring, but they don't allow foreign investors to come in and turn the club into a commercial zone where they're making money, but none of it goes towards anything. For example, look at Bayern Munich, 16 years early, they've paid off the stadium debt. We're still paying ours off now. Nobody will pay that.
All this started with Chelsea and Man City with their respective oil money.
Yeah.
The worst thing is, they say,
And
if you don't try to compete with it, you're going to get left behind, aren't you? So
yeah, exactly.
We've had no choice other than to go down that route more. I mean, we were one of the last of the top clubs maybe to do that, really, and we've had no choice because we just get left behind. We've been left behind anyway. When you think where we were sort of 15 years ago to where we are now, we've been left behind anyway, and maybe we need to find some way of closing that gap so that we can get back to where we should be as a club, which is, you know, every single season challenging for honours, not necessarily winning stuff, but at least challenging for things. I mean,
Exactly.
we don't look like a team that's a club that can challenge for the Premier League title. I can't see it in the next 10 years. I just cannot see how we're going to be able to do that. And that's not really, for a club like Arsenal, we should at least have 2 or 3 title challenges to look forward to in the next few years. I can't see where that's coming from. If Newcastle get taken over as they're supposed to be, that's going to be another team suddenly in the next 2 or 3 years that's going to be able to win the league before we can. And that's not really good enough, is it? You know, we're getting pushed further and further down, and, you know, top 4 is going to be something, but soon we're going to be lucky at finishing the top 8 if we don't start competing and getting back, you know, trying to financially compete with all these teams that are overtaking us.
I think Stan real quick. I think Stan from Vancouver said this. I didn't think of this, but it's so true. We have the only billionaire owner whose first love isn't the team. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big problem for us.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get at. We have an owner that doesn't love the club, and that's what I'm saying. We're too commercialized. We're all about making money, but none of it goes towards the club. They're saying, "Oh, we bought Pepe, we bought this, we bought that, we bought that," but they couldn't make right decisions when they needed to. They kept dithering on it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
The one thing is, you guys might not agree with this, but I will say it without a doubt is that with Wenger, there's a big mistake they made there. They should have let him go years ago. They should have said to him ages ago, you know, they should have got rid of him. I think if we got rid of Wenger in 2014, now we would still be competing with titles. And that's and the way that I think that is because had he gone then, look who would have been available. At the time, Klopp was dithering over whether he should stay at Dortmund or not. If we put him in an open check saying come to Arsenal at the time, he probably would have, and we would be where Liverpool are now. We would have been winning the Champions League.
It's all true. It's all true, but it's completely pointless, isn't it? Beating
completely
ourselves up about that all the time.
One
It
thing
is, and I know you're completely right. You know, absolutely agree with you, Sam. But it didn't happen. But what I do beg to differ with is regards to I can't. You know, when you said Richard, I can't see us having a title challenge for the next 10 years or so. I don't agree, because a lot of it is down to the fact that not buying the best individual players at the world, spending 80 million, 100 million on a player here and there. Don't get me wrong, it helps. But what's more important is having a team with a great mentality that are all on form at the same time, playing as a team. And what gives me real hope is that, because all these best players that a lot of the club, all the fans out there on football Twitter saying, "Oh, he should go by him, go by." They all started off as young players getting a chance in the first team. These guys, and now we've got a fantastic crop of some really good, promising players coming through. Now, sometimes you don't need them all to be world-class players. You just need them all to be on the same page, playing a fantastic brand of football under a motivational manager. And I think we've got that now. So if we give him a chance, hopefully he'll have a free run at it next season. It'll be a more or less of a relatively normal season as far as it goes, and he can actually start working with these players day in, day out properly. Then we'll see the fruits of that labour. And if we hold on to this crop of players that have all known each other since they were like 10 years old, a lot of them, then who knows? Maybe they can just click and play a fantastic brand of football, a winning brand of football, and we can just push on.
I think we need a sprinkling of great players as well around them, don't you? As well. I mean, yes, that's important. I agree, and that's a good starting point. But for us to go to the next level where we need to be, you do need to have a sprinkling of exceptional players as well. We've always all our teams that's been successful have had that.
Certainly 89. Look at 89. Who was
Football's different now, though, isn't it? Football's different now. And in '89, though, we did have some really
sometimes, all I'm saying is that it can happen throughout history. I'm not saying it's going to, but I've got hope that it might. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, can I ask?
Richard, right as well.
I'm fascinated. I just want to ask Richard a quick question, because the 10-year thing kind of blew my mind. I thought that was, very negative. It just entertained me with this thought, Richard. If we traded Laka for Partey and got Umtiti to play the center back, would that make us a top 4 team?
It'd probably make us a top 4 team. I think we're a top 4 team anyway. We've just underperformed this season. I mean, in terms of challenging for the title, being a top 4 team and challenging for the title is going to the next level. And I just can't see at the moment. I mean, Liverpool are miles above us. Man City at this current time are miles above us. Other teams are investing a lot of money, or potentially going to be investing a lot of money as well. And, I can see us getting left behind, in terms of challenging for the title. The top 4 is always going to be a get out course for us, isn't it? It always has been for the last 15 years, really, getting in the top 4, which is great if we can do it. But at some point or other, we have to start becoming a team that can challenge for the title again. Liverpool, it took them a long time, but they finally got it there now. It took Man City a lot of money to get to that point, and whatever it's going to take, whether it's money, whether it's Arteta having a bit more time to get his ideas across to the younger players and build from there, but something needs to change if we're going to go from being a club challenging for the top 4 to being a club that can challenge for the title again.
The guy that needs to change is Raul Sanllehi. That's the main problem.
Yeah, that's one of the big problems. I totally agree.
With him making these decisions, he is the one that's really holding back from my
recruitment
confidence. Horrendous.
With another oil country coming in and owning a Premier League team, Newcastle, we need the best front office we can possibly have, and we got to hang on to our players, our young players.
Yeah. I'm quite comfortable. We do need a couple of players, and I've been banging on for months and months about Thomas Partey. I'd love to get him in the team. However, I'm really confident with the squad of players that we've got, that they're decent. They are decent. Something could be made out of them. But with the guy behind us, the scenes, just acting like he's some kind of mafioso fucking Danny DeVito lookalike, and building these relationships and spending tens of millions of pounds on out of our coffers on stupid super agents. That is the problem. He's the one that's causing a lot of them. I mean, the fact that he was going to give Emery a 3-year contract extension after Baku, what does that tell you? Seriously?
Yeah, no, I agree. I can't argue with that at all.
So he's the one we need to change, but who knows? That ain't going to happen, is it? For the time being. But unfortunately, he's the problem. I'm not too concerned about the squad as it stands. We need a couple of play. Yes, we do, but the manager we've got, I'm super confident in. I'm super confident in a lot of the young players that we've got. But if he's hamstrung by the guy behind him, then he's gone to fighting a losing battle, isn't he? So that's the problem.
Totally agree with that. Totally agree. That's what needs to change.
Yeah. And talking of change, this week was announced Sir Chips Keswick is retiring, and he's now he's out of the club. What was your?
I was sad about that. I was sad. I was sad because it was the last. The reason he's come out all over Twitter today. The reason he went was because they were not being consulted about anything, and I'm talking about Raul again. And spending 15 million quid or whatever it is on agents' fees in the summer, and getting no one else's thoughts on it or anything like that. And it's stupid that. So Chips Keswick obviously didn't have a major role to play in the club anymore. However, he was the last sort of bastion of Englishness and ownership that we had, really, in that sort of state. And that last bit gone makes me feel a little bit sad because we've got those donuts in the offices running our club now.
Andrew,
and that makes me a bit sad.
Andrew, I love you, but he's 80 years old.
I know.
But we want to know how many squirrels are on the front lawn. We don't need them anymore.
No. It's what it means. It's what it stands for. What it stands for, Glenn. He's been at the club for fucking 40, 50 years, and it is sad when he's the last one that's gone. That of that old guard, because I love the way the club was owned and run years ago. It was good. Yeah. And we were trying to do things the right way, and we made mistakes and we lost ground because of it. But I still liked the reasoning behind that, if you know what I mean, because it was traditional and it's what Arsenal are based on. Arsenal are a class club. We weren't owned like the rest of the garbage out there. We were run nicely and properly, and we had no debts. We were a rich club. We had Highbury, and. It's what he signified. It's not what he did, Glenn. Even though he's 80, it's what he signified, and that's all gone now. And that's what made me sad. Sorry, and we're stuck now with fucking Raul, and all that tradition that we had before that made me proud of the club has gone. And that's why I was sad.
All right. Well, I would counter that by saying the average age that men live to is 75 years old. Let the dude retire without any aggravation and just chill out, okay?
Yeah, but at the end of it, still the reason he retired was because of these numpties. Not because he was too old and senile. It's because they no longer had any say whatsoever in the running of Arsenal, and that's the sad reason. And like I said, it wasn't even the fact that it was him and his age. It was what it signified that made me sad.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, it is like the old school's gone now, and what the club was based on for 50, 60, 70 years, wasn't it, with the Hillwoods and what have you before?
It made us different. It made us the Arsenal.
Close the door.
Exactly.
What was that you were saying, Richard, about, yay, it's so great being in the house with the family?
I was just saying that my mum's just died today, Glenn, but no, never mind. You just go and shout,
Oh, sorry, dude.
It's all right, mate. Don't worry about it.
Wow. You could have dropped that information before the show, before I started making death jokes.
Well, never mind. It's so. Oh,
all right. Well,
I haven't even got the words.
If anybody hears the noise, my son came and turned the dryer on while I'm on. Well, if you hear any weird noise, you know what? I'm going to turn it off. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
Anyway.
Guys, it's all pretend to freeze. It's all pretend to freeze.
I'm back. Hold on. Son of a bitch. Why? There it is. Hello.
Hello.
I'm sorry. You
That's
guys,
all right.
you guys done feeling sorry for me and making fun of me at the same time?
Yep.
Okay. I turned the dryer off. I kicked my son upstairs.
Oh, that's nice. You should have put him in the dryer. That would have been better.
Oh my God.
Oh, dear.
I don't even know what to say to you.
Sam's gone.
Sam keeps this. All right.
You
I'm
shot
sorry,
taking the
guys.
ball.
You don't understand. I have an hour to do the show. My son was not supposed to come in here for another 20 minutes.
Oh, my days.
What were we talking about? Shut
I've
up,
got no idea.
Brian.
No
Take
idea.
hold of the wheel and steer somewhere. You know, like, you know, who do we want the starting 11 to be? Stuff like that.
I was actually going to get onto that, actually, but now you've mentioned it. Yeah, basically, with us now going back on the 17th, and then we got contracts with David Luiz running out on the 30th. It doesn't look like we're going to extend that to the end of this season at all. What do we do starting 11 wise going forward from day one?
Well, I mean, when all these loans come back and Saliba comes back, we're going to have like 8 center backs. Some people are going to have to go. I personally like Luiz, but I know a lot of Arsenal fans don't. And I respect their reasons why, because a lot of times he's like Mustafi giving the ball away, but he gets away with it with the fans a little more because he looks like Sideshow Bob or whatever.
Well,
I like David
literally,
Luiz. I think he was playing well. The last 10 games, whatever, he was probably our best player. Consistency-wise, every week he was there, and I say he was a leader on the pitch, so I've got no problem with him. I'll be quite happy if he did stay for another season. But if he's not going to be there for next year, I think at the moment we need somebody who's a leader at the back, and he's the only one we've got. So I think he has to play until the point when he can't play anymore, whether that's when his contract ends or whether the contracts are going to be moved to the end of the season, which I think was what they were talking about. Then I would keep playing him. And I quite like to look at that Mari, who I know he only played 1 or 2 games, didn't he, before? He looks quite decent. I know he's only on loan, but I would maybe play him till the end of the season as well. I think that could be a good partnership at the back to build from before, obviously, Saliba comes in next season. So I think I will start with them 2, and then as a base for your defence, I think that'd be a good place to start. And then I think the rest of the team pretty much picks itself anyway, doesn't it? Yeah, and the other thing with Luiz that I love about him is the long passes down the wing. We got Pepe, we got Saka. I really love. I love his his long passes down the wing. I want him to stay. All I'm saying is I will understand if they say that's a little too much money and he has to go. I mean, if it was my choice, I'd be like, no, here, sign him. Yeah, there you go. But and still 3 or 4 of the others. That's what I would do. Yeah. What do you guys think about Holding? A lot of people have given up on Holding.
See, this is what I was going to say. I really like Holding, and I hope that he's really upped his fitness and confidence levels over this break, because I think he's a good player. I think he's a really cultured defender in there. So I'd really like him to just give it. He needs a good run of games to get match fitness. What we talk about, match fitness and match sharpness. No one gets it over 1 or 2 games. You need to build it up. So you have to persevere with someone to get that. If you've got faith in them, that's the problem. Yeah. If he's got faith in him, which I have, I don't know what Arteta's complete. He had good things to say about him a lot in the initial stages, but you've got to persevere with that player and let him work through to fitness. He's not really played him, has he? I mean, I know he's been injured a fair bit. He broke down again, didn't he? Kept getting niggles. But you have to sort of persevere and play through these sorts of little ups and downs in order to get the best player back. So hopefully he might do that. But I completely agree about Luiz. I've always been a fan of Luiz, and it'd be madness to get rid of him before the end of the season if it just means giving him, one of those, because it's not just a loan, is he? There's loads of players across the league that have got the contracts end on the 30th. Yeah, so hopefully he can be one of these players that, just extends it, not to a specific date, but to the end of the season. It's like a week-to-week contract. Yeah, exactly. Basically, I think it's going to be worded to the end of the 2019-2020 season or worse to that effect. So hopefully if we can get that sorted, and I'd love to see him and Mari take us to the end of the season, because I know it's only been 2 games, like you said, Richard, but I've got a lot of faith in Murray because I really, really like Tim Vickery, the pundit over in Brazil, the English guy, and
Bigging him up,
he's
you're
known
right, yeah.
him. He's known him for a long time, and he's got nothing but great things to say about Murray. So I
He played well against Liverpool, didn't he? He played well against Liverpool in the World Club thing. So,
but he made a massive difference. Yeah, so I do respect him a lot, that Tim Vickery, and I take his word for it. So I'm quite confident with Murray, and he reminds me a lot of Steve Bold, the way he plays and runs and everything. He's quite similar, and I think. So I'll definitely have them. But what the player more than anyone else, I'm really looking forward to getting back in the team is Tierney in front of.
I love him.
With Saka or Martinelli rotating in front of him. I think that's really exciting. I can't wait to have him back.
Me too.
Well, even Arteta saying even before this all hit, is obviously coming back and training at the time. He was loving what he was seeing. He loved that work ethic that Tierney had developed at Celtic and he's bringing over. And obviously he has good big plans from this, that, and the other. So, and looking at that, saying that, our left side of our team now looks absolutely fantastic. Tierney, you've got options of Saka and Martinelli.
Well, the thing is, with
and Aubameyang, who plays.
I was going to say, Tierney coming back into the team means that Aubameyang loses his place for me. It's got to be. Because he's no longer... No, seriously, because in front of Tierney, I'd be gutted.
Surely Aubameyang's got to be through the centre, hasn't he? Anyway,
well, this is what I'm coming to, yeah. So on the left, you've got to have Martinelli or Saka. Yeah. Or both, rotating. So you can't have Aubameyang out there, which means that Aubameyang's got to move into the middle, which means there's no place for a...
I thought you meant leaving Aubameyang out completely.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell?
No. Did I say... In fact, I made a slip of the tongue because I meant to... what I meant was it means there's no place for Lacazette. Yeah. So, because Aubameyang has to go in the middle. So I said the wrong name. I didn't mean it.
Well, Laka has to earn his starting spot back. Yeah, he was the player of the year last season, but going into the virus, he was in a pretty bad slump. His form was off. So, as far as midfield goes, it's great to have all these. But I think midfield's going to be important for Arteta too. For me, he's got to have Ceballos there, and hopefully, what's his name? Torreira, but I don't know. Xhaka seems to have a spell on every Arsenal coach, so he might be the starter.
Yeah, well,
I think Xhaka's a guaranteed starter, isn't he? Really, I think he's. And to be fair, I think again, looking at leaders, he's the leader in the midfield, isn't he? He's the only one that takes responsibility. I think Ceballos is a bit hit and miss. He's been. I think Torreira wants to leave anyway. By all accounts, it seems like he's not settled. So. Is he? Do we want to keep playing him if he's going to leave anyway? I'm not sure. I think it's going to be Xhaka plus whoever else he wants to pick there. Ceballos possibly as an option, but I think Xhaka's guaranteed to start every single game.
Yeah. Well, I really think that Lacazette for me is the one where we can earn some money and to buy Partey, because for me he doesn't start in our first 11 anyway if we're going to be playing a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 formation. He doesn't fit for me because but then,
having said that, can Aubameyang play as a lone striker? Because I'm not sure if he can.
No, because in a front three you don't class them as like midfielders, do you? If you had like Martinelli or Saka on the left and Pepe on the right, they're all attackers for me, but they should all be intelligent enough to be able to be fluid in their positions. I don't think anyone should have. When you're talking about top-end professional football in supposedly the best league in the world, you should not be able to just have to stick to one position on the pitch. You should be able to have the intelligence to sort of, work with your players around you. So for me, that's really important. And I'd have a front three, personally, with, like I just said. And in that case, Lacazette is benched. And I would prefer, in that case, to get rid of Lacazette's big wage and big ego and causing problems on on the bench because he's being benched every week, and I'd have Nketiah take his place on the bench.
That's another name that we have. I completely agree. And you know, the beauty of Arteta is, since we're talking about the midfield, is I am confident that he's going to do what is the best thing. Because, you know, with Mr. Good Evening, remember last year when top four was our own, you know, it was our own fate. We controlled our own fate. And I forgot who we played at home. He started El Neni and Guendouzi in midfield. You know, so I'm confident that Arteta is going to do the right thing.
Oh, definitely.
No, I'm confident he will as well. But the right thing is still restricted by the players that are available to play as well, isn't it?
Right, but you know, he's not going to give us two non-playmakers in midfield. Is what I'm saying. I'm confident he's going to, you know, set the team up with good link-up play. That's all I'm saying.
I really wish that Ceballos was already our player because I really like Ceballos, and I think he was another one that was looking really good towards the end before everything stopped. And he looked really promising in that sort of deep midfield role. And I just can't get it out of my head that he would be an absolutely perfect partner alongside Thomas Partey.
Well,
He would be so good. They'd really complement each other so well with their skill set.
Just before
What the hell is that? Is that your missus? Is that your missus, Glenn?
That is my wife's new text tone because she's so friggin'
I thought that was her voice because she's a Wookiee, you know.
No, I made her text tone and air raid sound. Guys, I got to go. I'm sorry, Richard. I've never been on a show with you before, as far as I can remember. But I smoke a lot of pot, so it was nice. It was nice. It was nice meeting you, Richard.
And you, mate. Yeah, it's been a
all
pleasure.
right. Ryan, anytime you want me on, okay?
Yeah,
Andrew, always a pleasure, you grumpy old man. All right, take it easy.
Anyway, I'm really sorry, guys. I've got to go now because I've been invited over to a barbecue starting at 4. That's what Fresh Prince.
Sorry, just before you actually leave, because you mentioned Ceballos there, do you think now with what's gone on, we're going to have to approach Madrid for another loan with the option to buy, with the obligation to buy now?
I really, 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 really want to keep him. And if that's a way we can do it, I'll be really happy to do that because I see something in the guy. I can see a really, really good player there. And you know what really, I think is really important when you buy a player as well, is their mentality for the club. You know, he's got the enthusiasm and the energy, and you can tell he really loves the club. You know, when he's playing and he's on the sidelines, he's the first one up when we score and he's running onto the pitch. And you can't fake that sort of stuff. You can't fake it. Yeah. And you buy some players or loan some other players, and you know there's nothing there. You know, they're vacant, and you can just tell they don't feel it in their heart. With him, I get the feeling that he's an Arsenal player. And I can see a really good cultured player there. And let's not forget, he's only 22.
Very young.
But last season, excuse me, he still made 21, I think it was. Don't quote me on those figures exactly, but around 21 appearances in the La Liga for Real Madrid. You don't do that if you're shit. You don't play for the Spanish national team if you're shit. I just think he was starting to really show again what he could do before the lockdown, and I just hope we can keep him because I think he's an important player for us. I know he's been inconsistent, but he had 3 months out with injury, don't forget. Yeah.
Exactly, and I think one of the problems was as well, obviously, when he first came in, Emery was there and all the trouble that was going on behind the scenes around that, and then obviously Emery went and he was injured at first, and like you said, he's come back into the team under Arteta and he looked a lot better in those few games that he played towards the end. So hopefully, maybe Arteta can get a little bit more out of him on a consistent basis, because I felt he was a little bit hit and miss earlier in the season. He had 1 or 2 good games and 1 or 2 anonymous games when he was maybe overpowered because he didn't seem physically the strongest player at the beginning, did he? He was getting sort of bullied out of it in midfield, whereas maybe Arteta can give a little bit more. Get a little bit more from him.
You see, the problem is if we don't buy anyone else at all in midfield, then I hate to say he might be worth just. We're going to have to just probably let him go because he does need. The thing is, what I'm still visualising is him alongside someone like Thomas Partey. He'd be ideal there'll be an ideal matchup.
Yeah.
But if we
Be good
don't
to
buy
see, yeah,
anyone, if we don't buy anyone like to go alongside him, he's not going to be any good like playing alongside a Torreira's not. He's not the physical, imposing sort of Vieira type player we need. You know, like a Partey.
Yeah.
He's not. We haven't got anyone to do that, and he's not good enough on his own, Ceballos. So,
No.
if we were to help, Arteta and get someone like the Partey, then I'd love to keep Ceballos. But if not,
I'll
there's
tell you
not
who
much
else.
point in keeping him.
I'll tell you who else we could look at as well, a similar sort of player in terms of a physical presence, Decore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he would be a good option for us. If we can't get Partey, which the money's going to play a part in that. I think maybe Decore as an option could do a job in there, because I think he knows the Premier League. He's a physical player. He gets up and down. He can tackle. He can score goals. He's almost a complete midfield player. And maybe Arteta can sort of, and with better players around him, he can maybe actually go up a level. I certainly wouldn't have any problem if we was to buy him.
His name's escaped me as well, unfortunately. The other one I like, if we couldn't get Partey, was the guy from Leeds, and he's got quite a funny hairstyle, but he's really good as well.
Bun sort of thing, or
what's his name?
I know what you mean. He played against us in the cup, didn't he?
He was outstanding, absolutely outstanding. And I tell you what, he's been trained to within an inch of his life to do a job, under Bielsa. I wish I could remember his name, but he was very good player. But trouble is that we'd have to pay a little bit, because obviously they're looking like they're going to come up, obviously, so they're going to want to keep hold of him. But he's going to be cheaper than Partey, but he's quite young as well, and well versed in this country. And let's face it, the Championship is a very, very hard league to get out of, and
hard. Very physical as well, isn't it? Yeah.
So he's an option I'd look at as well.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That actually, I hadn't really thought about him, but he had a really good game against us, didn't he?
Oh, he bossed it. He was incredible. Excuse me, I've got frog in my throat. But I'd like him. But we need to, like I said, just to reiterate, there's no point in keeping Ceballos if we don't buy someone like that to go alongside him. I don't think, unfortunately.
Definitely. And again, it all comes down to recruitment, and no matter what happens in this end part of this end last 10 games, in that 5 weeks we've got to do the recruitment spot on this year, because there's no point in just buying any and everyone that we usually do, because it doesn't work.
There's no point. You've got to buy the right. See, this is the difference between us and Liverpool. The difference between us and Liverpool is, so I'll just end on this, is the decision making, the people behind the scenes, because they would rather buy one really expensive T-shirt to have in their wardrobe rather than 4 Primark T-shirts, because at the end of the day you get what you pay for, and it's better quality, and that's the same thing, in a nutshell. So you might as well, if you're going to spend 45 million and go and spend it on 3 £15 million players, you might as well get the 45 million pound player that will make a massive difference and is ideal, for your system that you play. It's got to be to your system, not just because they're a big name. Not because they're a big name.
It's quality over quantity, isn't it? That's 100%.
What it's about. And that's the difference between Liverpool
that's the mistake that we've made. Yeah, that's one of the mistakes that we've made. Definitely, every year we end up buying 4 or 5 players that aren't particularally good. Whereas
exactly. What's the point?
Buying 1 or 2 players that are better. Yeah, I'll totally agree with that. That's definitely what we've done wrong. Not just now, but over the last sort of several years, really.
Exactly. I'll stand by what I said earlier about our squad and our young players and how excited I am about that. But and it's not all about spending massive amounts on individuals, because they've all got to be part of the team. And I totally agree. Now, if Arteta does think that Thomas Partey, like everyone does as an Arsenal fan, but not just because he's a big name from a big club, but because he can do the job that he needs him to fulfil within our team and our squad, then you should spend that money to get that exactly the right player. And what I've said before about Decore is, and I agree with what you've said completely, but if you're going to really want to make a title challenge, you want to get those right final cogs in your team, I'd rather get the Waitrose version than the Aldi version, if you know what I mean, of that player. And I no disrespect to Decore, he is the Aldi version of Thomas Partey, I think, and I might be wrong. But that's the impression I get.
Yeah. But I mean, I would say if we can't get Thomas Partey because the money side of it isn't going to work, then we need to look at a similar sort of player that we can maybe afford to get.
Do you then? Because that's doing what you just said. That's doing what you just said. You're opting for
No,
the
but
player
Decore is
not
still
as
a good
good.
option, isn't he? He's still a good option, Decore. He knows the Premier League. He can do the job that we need in the team. He's just maybe not quite as good as Partey, but then he's going to be slightly cheaper.
I know. It's just whether you if you're going to be serious and
But if we can't get Partey, what do we do? Buy nobody. We need
No,
to buy
I'd
somebody in
rather-
that position, don't we?
no,
We need to buy somebody.
I know. I don't know, but Decore has been in and around the Premier League for a long time, which is you can see is very much as a positive. However, why has he stayed at somewhere like Watford for so long? It doesn't happen, does it? They get stolen. They get stolen very quickly. Don't you ask Leicester after they won the league? And what happened to N'Golo Kante and everyone else? They just left. It got cherry picked immediately. Why hasn't he? Because the world needs defensive midfielders. There's a massive lack of them. Why is he still at Watford?
Yeah, that's a point. I mean, I don't know. I'm
Is
just
that- is
watched
that-
him, and I like the look of him, and I think he'd be a good fit in our
Do you know
team.
what?
And-
I've just got the reservations, and I don't disagree. He's a good player. I'm just saying, sometimes if you're going to be serious and you do think right, we do need to make that step. You've got to push yourself to get that one player because you know that he's going to be perfect for you in your system, in your team.
Yeah.
So-
I agree. Definitely agree with that. But I wouldn't say that it's guaranteed that we can get Thomas Partey.
No.
is it?
But then if you can't, if you totally cannot, you've exhausted all your avenues, then do you then opt for someone that's not as good, or do you wait and get this exactly the right person? That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. It's a hard one, but I don't know whether taking second best is going to help us in the long term, because we're always going to be in that vicious cycle, aren't we? So
Yeah,
I don't know.
but I mean, I suppose a lot of it we wouldn't know until we get the player and how well they do.
No,
I mean,
I know.
Partey might look like he's the right man, but when he comes in, it might take him 6 months to settle. And whereas Decore might come straight in and do a job from day one.
Yeah.
We don't know, do we? At the end of the day, I agree with your point. Partey looks a better option, definitely, but he's also going to cost a lot more money. And can we afford that? We don't know. With the current situation with no match day income for the club as well on top of everything else, are we going to be in a position to spend a lot of money this summer?
I don't know whether it's going to be a massive difference though. If you think buying a Premier League player from a Premier League, technically your rival, because they're obviously a training ground backed onto ours, doesn't it? Is it going to be much difference than the £45 million release fee that is reported that Thomas Partey's got? So
it's also
not
what
going to be a
wages
massive
he
difference,
wants,
is
isn't it? What contracts he wants. Decore might be happy with a lesser contract, less. He might be happy to take less money to join Arsenal than what Partey might want. What the agents' fees are like involved as well. Like you said, Watford's training grounds just across the road. He might have similar agents to players that are already at Arsenal. It might be an easier deal to get over the line. We don't know, do we? I mean, at the end of the day, if we can get Partey, then fantastic.
Do you know
Happy
what though?
days,
Do you know what? Just again, I really need to go. I'm going to be really late. But the other player that I mean, this is my ideal wish list. It's never going to happen in a million years. Do you know what, Stan? I was going to actually say that, but I went off topic earlier. That's another option. But he's starting to run again, isn't he? Callum Chambers.
Yeah.
But anyway, I
was playing well as well, wasn't
I
he?
definitely think he could do a job for us in the short term. Yeah, 100%. We're happy to give him a go because he's there. He's in the team. I do like Callum Chambers a lot. But my ideal guy to come in because of his age and the way he's been playing is Wilfred Ndidi from Leicester. I mean, but the chances of us getting him is very negligible, obviously, to say the least, because they ain't going to sell him to a rival and he's going to be massively expensive. Look what they got for Slabhead, from Man United at the back. Yeah. So they're going to want similar sort of money. But he'll be amazing because he's only 22 as well, and he's probably the best player in the Premier League in his position. I think he's surpassed Kante at the season before it finished.
Yeah, before the last. Yeah.
But,
he's another one. Yeah, that stood out as well. But like you said, I can't. The reason why I don't think he's been mentioned is because he's not a viable option in terms of what realistically we can probably get.
No,
is he?
Probably not now. I mean, normally they sell one player every summer, Leicester, and they probably would have looked at doing business, but no chance now that we've lost all this money with the downtime.
No,
but,
I can't see that. No, but
No.
you know, I think that the whole transfer thing is going to be a bit different this summer anyway to maybe the last few years. I don't think anybody's going to spend as much money as they would normally have done anyway, which might mean that some of these players may be available slightly cheaper than they might ordinarily have been, perhaps.
Mm.
We'll have to see what happens with the market, because I just think it's going to be a bit of a different market this summer. You know, plus as well, it's a very congested one, isn't it? With only a few weeks to sort it out before the new season. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll have a chat about I'm going to just quick back up what Tim Stillman said on the Arsenal Vision podcast a couple of days ago about the FA Cup. They've massively lost missed a massive trick about not having it as an end of season competition. Get it done within 10 days, quarterfinal, semi-final, final. Have it like an end of season one, you know, all in extravaganza, similar to like a mini international tournament type thing. It would have been
like the Emirates
amazing.
Cup almost, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been incredible. You know, after the season, get it all done within a week to 10 days.
Yeah.
And that'd be really exciting. And they would have brought the magic back to the FA Cup. But no, they've just fucked it off again because the Premier League made it difficult for them. So they've just bowed to them again, and it's, you know, losing its magic, as we know. I love the FA Cup. And they should.
Yeah, I do.
Can you imagine if it was done at the end of the season, all in one go, as a little mini tournament?
Yeah.
It would have brought the magic back, and everyone would have been buzzing for it.
Yeah, no, that would have been great, but I mean, it's just going to get lost now, isn't it? Because everyone's more worried about the Premier League games, and it's just going to be an extra distraction that maybe clubs don't need. It is a shame, but unfortunately, they don't seem to make the right decisions on anything these days, do they?
No. Anyway, I'm going to really have to go, guys, and run. So I really appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks for having me on. Really nice to meet you, Richard.
Cheers, Andrew.
Yeah, and you, Andrew. Yeah, take it easy, mate.
It's been really, really good. You have to come on my show and do your Mesut Island Discs one day.
Yeah, no, I'd love to, yeah.
That'd be really good. So, everyone tune in from Dial Square to where every Wednesday doing Mesut Island Discs during this down period with no football. And it's been really good fun. And, my own Arsenal-based slant on the Desert Island Discs format. So, join in.
Yeah,
thanks for having me on again.
Well, cheers, Andrew. Speak to you soon, mate.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm going to wrap up now. But, any final thoughts going into, obviously, the next couple of weeks?
Well, I mean, half of me is kind of pleased that football's going to be back. But I don't like the fact it's going to be behind closed doors. You know, that's it's been a punishment before, hasn't it? You know, if your fans have behaved badly or whatever, it's a punishment to play behind closed doors. Now it's almost seen as a treat, isn't it? We're going to get football on, but no one can go and watch it, and I don't really like that. It's just going to become a TV show, which isn't really what it's about. It's about fans in the ground. So I'm not really. I'm not overly excited about it, if I'm honest, but it's going to be good to get Arsenal playing again. I'm going to try and see if I can get into a couple of games with a press pass or something, just to try and be there. I think it'd be quite exciting just to try and get in, just to see what it's like as an experience, really, with no crowd in it. Just be interesting to see it. So I'm going to see if I can manage to do that at some point, one of the games at least. But it's not the North London derby. No, I want to try that one. I think I might stay clear of that one. But certainly Man City and the Sheffield United Cup game are two on my list that I might try to see if I can figure something out for that. But I'll say I'm not overly excited about it, if I'm honest. But the games are going to be played now. Let's get them done. Hopefully we can finish top four and then start afresh next season. Hopefully with, like you said, maybe with fans in as well. In September would be good, wouldn't it?
Well, hopefully, because it does seem like they're going to get this done and dusted. FA Cup on August the 1st, and then they're going to have like 4 to 5 weeks to get themselves together and go again.
Because they were talking about doing it after what would be the international break in September, wasn't they? Starting it then, which would be a good time to start the season. But if they're not going to allow fans in until October, November, or December, put it off and start it then. Don't start the season behind closed doors and then halfway through start letting fans in again. I think they need to start the season. They need to start the season when they can have fans in, whenever that is. If it's September, fantastic. If it's not until January, February, then wait till then and just maybe congest that season in for one season just to get it back on track again, really. But I don't think you can forget the fans. I think that's important that we get fans back in the ground as soon as possible. And if we can't, don't start it too quickly. Wait till
Yeah.
we can get fans in and into it. However that's going to work, I don't know. It could take
And
months.
as we touched on before, not just the financial side of things, but this period is going to show how important the fans are on a match day to
Of course it is.
the
Yeah,
actual
yeah,
occasion.
yeah.
I think
Exactly.
we have. Let's be honest. We have since the Chelsea's and Man Cities have got their oil money respectively. The fans have been left behind because then Sky have then jumped on the bandwagon and doing what they do. BT, we have been left behind. It's all geared. Everything's geared now to the people that can't go to games.
Of course, you can talk about the kickoff times as well. The stupid kickoff times they do.
Yeah, and the VAR system. Any match day fan that goes for any of the clubs, you don't know what's going on. It comes on the screen, VAR check, but you don't know what they're checking.
No.
You have no.
No, you don't.
You're like talking to each other about what this, that, and the other. Because I remember the last game we played was against West Ham, and obviously the goal lack is
the goal. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's like the goal's being checked, but what's it being checked for? Because they were meant to say, give us more information, as in what it's being checked for, and show us. They were meant to show us. They don't show us.
Yeah, they're meant to show the replays on the screen, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I've never seen a replay on the screen yet all season. I mean, it's a new thing, and I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, I don't like VAR at all, and I think that it's one of the things that maybe made this season anyway. Obviously the current situation has kind of been the cap on it, really. I just think it's been a terrible season anyway to watch football. I think the VAR has absolutely ruined it. I just haven't enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy this season anyway, up until the last couple of games were slightly better, but this season for me was the worst season I can remember anyway. I'm hoping that maybe everybody can refocus now with this break. I don't know whether the Premier League or whatever can look at the VAR thing and realise it hasn't worked and go back to the old system, which wasn't perfect but was better. I don't know, but I certainly don't want another season like this one anyway, because it's been the least enjoyable season I can remember. Yeah, part of that was Emery and all the kind of stuff with Emery at the start of the season probably made it less enjoyable as well. But this season for me is going to be written off, and wherever we finish, whether it's 4th, whether it's 11th or 12th, to me is almost irrelevant. We need to be in the top 4. But this season's a write-off as far as I'm concerned. We have to finish it, so let's finish it. Let's do the best that we can, and let's reset next year and go again. And hopefully, all the positive vibes, especially from Glenn tonight, has been good. He's, and even Andrew a bit of positivity as well, which is good. And hopefully, it could be a good future coming for us in the future. With Arteta. But let's just get this season finished and done with, and pretend it never really happened and start again. And hopefully next year might be slightly better next season. But we need to focus on making sure it's right to play it first as well, isn't it? I think there's a little kind of feeling that they're rushing it a little bit because they're so desperate to get it done that they may be
because of the financial. Again, when it comes to Sky and BT, sort of put that financial pressure on the Premier League to. If you don't, you've got to pay us back X amount, hundreds, millions, and seriously.
Surely the TV companies for one season could say, look, don't worry about the money that we've paid you. Don't pay us it back. We'll just pay you less over the next 5 years to compensate for it. Just so that clubs aren't put under that pressure that they're going to have to pay the money back, especially some of the smaller clubs like Bournemouth and Norwich and teams like that. They're going to really struggle. I mean, Man City, I don't care. Make them pay it back, and Chelsea, but certainly the smaller clubs. But the TV companies should think about it and just pay them less over the next 5 years or something to pay it back that way. Then that way there's no pressure on the clubs, is there, from that point of view? And that way, would clubs then be so keen to start the season again if they didn't have to worry about that? I don't know if they would. We listen to like Troy Deeney, what he's been saying about the safety aspects of it. Maybe clubs would put that first if the money wasn't there. But I don't know. But it looks like it's going to happen now anyway. So I think we just need to get on with it, accept it, and just and just let it crack on and finish.
Well, literally, as we've been live, EFL or Championships have given their start date of the 20th of June. So literally, as we've got games now sorted, they're going to get going as well. So, and they've got more games to go through as well. So that's going to be interesting.
What about the playoffs? Are they still going to do the playoffs, or are they going to scrap the playoffs?
They haven't actually said it all. It's been here we go. England's second tier planning to end the season with EPL promotion playoff final around the 30th of July. So they're still going to do a playoff final. But look,
They're still going to do the playoffs. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. They're going to squeeze all them games in. They'll be playing 3 games a week, won't they?
well, especially the date they're given is July 30th. And
For the final, they've still got to do the semi-finals, as well, haven't they?
yeah,
Plus all the league games.
literally. And so it's just getting it up now. Literally 24. Well, that's a 30th. 48 hours later, you've got an FA Cup final to prepare for.
Yeah.
Because obviously the finals on the 1st of August, as they've said. So that's going to be.
Well,
Well, I think more so. I think the playoff side of it is whether they've done that just so they can't have any backlash of, well, even though we finished 5th, 5th or 6th, we could have got that spot via the playoff system normally. So they're just doing it to probably stop the lawsuits coming at them.
yeah,
Now-
probably. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how they're going to squeeze all the games in. There's going to be injuries right, left, and centre, isn't there, for everybody? I think.
Well, literally, what was it? Premier League. Taking our game in hand at the equation, we've got 9 league games plus an FA Cup match, possibly two others if we get all the way to the final. And it's literally like we play a game, then 48 hours later, the next game, 48 hours later, it's constantly it's getting rammed down our throats because that's how quick they want to.
Yeah, I mean the TV times are on Saturday. They're playing like 4 or 5 different times, aren't they, on a Saturday and a Sunday? It's like I won't watch any of them apart from the Arsenal games. That's it. I'm not going to watch anything else because it just do me head in. It does me head in at the best of times anyway. I certainly don't want to see Crystal Palace play Burnley or somebody like that. Do you know what I mean? On a 12 o'clock on a Sunday, absolutely no chance.
You watch all this hoo-ha about BBC getting a few live games on. It'll be all the crap games, basically.
Oh, of course it will. They're not going to have a decent one, are they? Really, they won't. They definitely won't have. All the decent ones will be on Sky, won't they?
Sky
on
and
BT. Of course they will. Yeah, well, they've already picked them, haven't they? They've already picked them before.
The start date is all on Sky anyway because it's a Sky product, basically.
So our game against Man City will be on Sky, will it? Is that?
I think that's what they announced on Thursday. Man City, Arsenal, Sheffield United, Villa are both
they're the 2 games
on Sky, on the same day.
Oh, they're on Sky, yeah. I thought they might be.
And then the Saturday, Sunday is literally the 5 games Saturday, 5 games Sunday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, then again, so on and so on.
Because our game originally at Man City was going to be on Sky anyway, wasn't it? So I suppose it's obvious that they'd still be on Sky. But BBC will definitely get all the. Yeah, of course they will. I mean, they might maybe persuade themselves to get one half decent game. You know, maybe Aston Villa against maybe if they've got to play one of the relegation teams, maybe they might have that on.
Yeah.
But anyway, I suppose it's better than nothing, isn't it?
Well, it's better than listening freaking Marco Waring drone on or Stephen McManaman or then again we've got Jermaine Genius though.
Yeah, that's true. But to be honest, I'll probably only watch the Arsenal games anyway. If I'm honest, I might watch 1 or 2 others. I'm not really bothered about the rest of it.
I'm literally going to be the same. Literally, just Arsenal games. That's it. Because that's club sport. Anyone who wants to watch 10 games every weekend, that's overload. That's too much.
Yeah, I don't tend to watch a lot of games on TV anyway. If I'm honest, I don't. I mean, if it's a game maybe on a Sunday that's kind of important to us in the league, maybe if Tottenham are playing then I might watch it if it means something to us. But if it's just a game that's just irrelevant, you know, I don't want to. I'm certainly not going to watch Liverpool's games because they just win 5-0 every week. It's just pointless. So, and Man City as well. It's just a waste of time watching them, isn't it? Because they're over in 10 minutes.
Yeah, even that. There's still discussions about the Liverpool's first game because it's against Everton. And obviously the circumstance of if we beat City in our game in hand,
that's right. They can win the league then, can't they? Yeah, that's right.
And because of that implication, there's talks of possible neutral venue being put in place just in case that happens.
You don't think Liverpool fans will travel? Of course they will. They're not bothered, are they?
This is what I'm saying. This is my other concern before we sign off. That Liverpool fans have waited 30 years for a league title. You're telling me, no matter where they win it, they're not going to be out in the streets partying left, right, and centre, hugging each other, getting absolutely, you know what?
Well, a lot of them will go to the game, won't they? Wherever it's played.
Well, we saw in the Champions League, was it PSG at home? Literally, that was meant to be behind closed doors, and their fans turned up partying outside the stadium.
Yeah, you can
But-
imagine. I mean, to be fair, I mean, if it was us, right, if we were going to win the league, one, I wouldn't want us to win a league like this with no fans anyway, because it's pointless. You win the league for the fans, so the fans can celebrate. If you haven't got
Yeah.
fans in the ground, it's pointless winning it. So I wouldn't want to win it anyway. But ultimately, if you've waited 30 years to win the league, the game's being played wherever it's being played in the country, you would go, wouldn't you? Because
Yeah.
even if you didn't have a ticket for the game, if the crowd was in, you didn't have a ticket, you'd still go, wouldn't you? I mean,
Yeah,
I've
'cause
I've been to games before when there's been stuff riding on without a ticket, and you go because you want to be there, you want to experience it. You can't tell me they're not going to go wherever it's played. They can play it on the moon. Liverpool fans would still go. They would, wouldn't they?
Oh, they
So they
would,
might as well just play at Anfield and get it done. And
yeah, exactly.
they'll be outside celebrating. Just let them celebrate. Get on with it. People have been on the beach all weekend anyway. I don't think it's make any
Oh,
difference.
that's yeah. Thanks,
Just
Dominic.
let people crack on. You know what I mean? If they've won the league, let them celebrate, and then it's over and done with, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
that's the
anyway.
one. That's the one assurance that this coming back. That's going to literally wrap it up, no matter what. It could be literally first game back. Boom, you've got the title. There you go. Shut up.
Well, yeah, exactly. Get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. So
Yeah.
we beat the ideal scenario. We beat Man City, which should be great, and then they beat Everton. They win the league, and then that's done. And then they can lose the rest of their games, and no one cares.
Yeah.
And then we can crack on and try and get fourth if we can. But we'll see. But yeah, that would be a good solution to it all, wouldn't it? Because the longer it drags on, the Liverpool say Man City beat us, say Liverpool don't beat Everton, they then don't win their next game.
Yeah.
It's gonna drag on, isn't it? Just get it over and done with. Just give it to them straight away.
Imagine after all this, they start dropping points left, right, and centre, and it takes them to the last game.
Imagine if they didn't win it. Imagine if they lost every single game. Imagine. They've been desperate to get it played because they think they're going to win it, and then they lose every game. Man City pip them on the last day.
The literal meltdown that happened with just their fans before the rival fans go, right.
Can you imagine that?
That
would actually be quite funny, wouldn't it? But it's obviously not going to happen, is it? I mean, it's just not, is it? But it's funny to think about it now where we can.
Yeah.
But
anyway, we'll wrap up now. Thanks for coming on anyway.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on it. I've enjoyed it. It was great meeting the other guys as well. It was good laugh. Glenn's a bit of a character, isn't he? Which is good.
Oh yeah, I was expecting him to be bouncing off the walls, and literally because he's since this has all happened, he's been the one really driving it. We've got to get this done, and this is how we've got to do it. And everything he said, it actually come to fruition in the sense of do the testing, do the behind closed doors, test all the people there, and anyone's got it. Bugger off this, that, and the other. He's in that sense, he's being positive in that side. Usually, he's the angry American that doesn't want it being done.
No, he's an entertaining guy, which is good. So.
Oh, yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks. I hope you'll get you back on again soon. And again, Sam, Andrew, and Glenn. Thanks for them for coming on as well and giving their thoughts on what we've been talking about, and obviously Stan, Melina, Sam in the live chat as well. Thanks for putting your comments in your live chat there. But I've got them all up on the screen. Stan did make a good point as well about we should have sold Xhaka for the 40 mil and used that for the Partey deal. But yeah,
maybe so it's an option.
Yeah,
it's an option.
Yeah. But it's all if buts and maybes at the moment. But yeah, until next time, enjoy the rest of what's left of the weekend. Enjoy the rest of the week. One week closer to Premier League return.
Exactly, which will be good, I'm sure.